Look, nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay?
Ukraine is sounding the alarm over a looming meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Officials in Kyiv are reportedly losing sleep, fearing that such a summit could produce a deal that sidelines them entirely. The nightmare scenario, according to The Telegraph, is a Trump-Putin sit-down excluding President Zelensky, allowing Russia to extract concessions without Ukrainian input. US officials underscore the importance of this direct dialogue. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said, "It's abundantly clear that the only way we're going to have a breakthrough here is in talks between President Trump and President Putin."
I think it's abundantly clear that the only way we're going to have a breakthrough here is between President Trump and President Putin. It's going to require that level of engagement to have a breakthrough in this matter.
Trump himself has been clear, "Nothing's going to happen until I sit down with President Putin." He is dismissing intermediaries and insisting that no progress will come without a face-to-face summit.
Look, nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay? And obviously he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there. And I don't believe anything's going to happen, whether you like it or not, until he and I get together.
This stance blindsided European allies who had expected the US to support tougher sanctions against Russia. Instead, Trump's push for direct talks is seen as a cold reality check for Kyiv and its Western backers.
It is clear that Russia is sending only a lower-level delegation now to Turkey, to these peace talks. It is the Ukrainians who have said, we are ready to sit down with the Russians, to agree a ceasefire, to immediately go into negotiations about the next steps to bring this terrible war to an end. I'm not going to give any advice to the Americans. Why not? Because it was President Trump who broke the deadlock. I have full confidence in how he and his team are steering this, so they will think of the next steps and coordinate closely with allies. But clearly the ball is now in Russia's court.
The Kremlin welcomes this development. Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, called the proposed meeting a major summit that requires long and intense preparations, signaling Russia's cautious but deliberate approach.
Direct negotiations with the Ukrainian side, organized on the initiative of the Russian president, have just ended. In general, we are satisfied with the result and are ready to continue contacts.
Recent Istanbul talks, the first direct Russia-Ukraine negotiations since March 2022, failed to produce a ceasefire, but led to a rare agreement on a prisoner swap. Ukrainian officials also pressed for a direct Putin-Zelensky meeting. However, Peskov made clear that any summit with Zelensky hinges on achieving certain results beforehand, and raised questions about who would sign off for Ukraine, an apparent challenge to Zelensky's legitimacy. With the spotlight on a Trump-Putin summit, Kyiv faces an escalating crisis. Ukrainian leaders fear being frozen out of critical talks and forced to accept a deal shaped without them. As Western support wavers and diplomatic isolation looms, Ukraine's position grows increasingly fragile, caught between great power politics that may leave it on the sidelines.